In this presentation, we're attempting to introduce the different means of insulating foundation from moisture, but we must start first by defining what foundation insulation is. Foundation insulation is coating the surfaces of the foundation blocks, including plain concrete and reinforced concrete insulation, using different choices of materials for different purposes. We want to insulate the foundation for different reasons. First, helps in avoiding moisture condensation, which is often caused by the difference in temperature between the basement interior and the earth around the foundation. Second, it protects the foundation of the building from groundwater. Third, it helps in preventing air permeation in the foundation block's cavities. We will be talking about bitumen-based insulation and concrete admixtures. The bitumen-based is divided into three categories: cold applied, hot applied, and membrane sheets.
Bitumen-based, cold applied. It's used for insulating steel and concrete surfaces like steel roofs, water tanks, steel pipes, concrete pipes. The materials and equipment needed are bituminous primer. It is bituminous solution used as it is without dilution. Before insulation, we coat the surface with this material. The solution must be homogeneous, and it must meet the standards of the American Association for Testing Materials. Cold applied bitumen. It is a bituminous solution with high viscosity. Its main components are the oxidized bitumen, solvents, and some special additives. There are various types for the cold applied bitumen depending on the kind of additives it contains. It must comply with the American Association for Testing Materials or the British standards. The equipment needed are the brush, the trowel grade, the roller, and the spray. We start first by coating the surfaces that are required to be insulated by the primer. We coat the surface by 0.5 kg for every meter square. Then, we leave the primer to dry for duration specified by the primer manufacturer. We coat the surface by the cold applied bitumen in 2 layers, stages, at least until we reach the required thickness of the design. Labor and material cost and their availability. The labor will cost about from 10 to 15 Egyptian pounds for every meter square to be coated. The bitumen. The 200 kg batch of bitumen will cost about 550 Egyptian pounds. Suppliers. There are 5 suppliers for cold applied bitumen in Egypt. First is Kima Masr, and second is Sika, third is Inzumat, and finally Masr al-Amiriya. Quality control. First, the surface to be coated must be clean and dry before starting to use the primer. The environment within which the surface to be coated must be free from dust. 3. The environment must perfectly be ventilated. Number 4. The minimum number of layers for coating is 2 layers. The advantages and disadvantages of cold applied bitumen. First, the advantages. It is a workable and easily applied material. It is an environment-friendly material, as we won't need to heat it before we use it as hot applied bitumen. It has a high coverage range. The batch covers about 60 meters squared in area. It is a very economic material because of its low price. The disadvantages. It has a poor quality assurance and a relatively small thickness. This is a picture of an isolated footing that has been insulated using a cold applied bitumen. This picture was captured during one of the site visits during this course.
The hot applied bitumen is used in many applications. It could be used as the paving grade bitumen, which is used in the asphalt mix and the industry of bituminous membranes. And also we have the oxidized bitumen, which has high resistance to the concrete cracks which happen due to temperature changes. And also we have an improved version of the oxidized bitumen, which has an extremely high resistance to high temperatures and the concrete cracks. The methodology of installation of the hot applied bitumen is very simple. It's first heated up to 180 degrees Celsius and it's poured over the surface and spread using the brushes to get the required thickness and the required number of layers. And the equipment used in this process are the heaters, the barrels, the special brushes, and we have heating, insulation gloves, and the bitumen mixer and vibrator for the bitumen compaction. For the quality control, the heating temperature should not exceed 180 degrees Celsius. The bitumen should not be diluted with water. There should be safety precautions while heating the material, and the material at the end should achieve the minimum thickness and the number of layers and tested appropriately according to the code specs. The advantages of using the hot applied bitumen is that it's usually thick layer, so it provides a very good insulation. Besides the oxidized and ductile bitumen resist the concrete cracks, besides being very efficient damp-proofing material, and also it has a very efficient quality control in terms of precautions and tests, and finally it does not require skilled labor. For the disadvantages, as we know, the material is not environmentally friendly when it's heated and the fumes are erected in the air. Also, not all the suppliers provide the hot applied bitumen in their products, and finally, the labor might be injured if it is not taken care while heating and applying this material. The price range for the hot applied bitumen is usually between 950 and 1200 LE per the 200 kilogram batch, and the labor cost for applying this material is usually 15 to 20 LE per the square meter. And the available suppliers in Egypt here are the Masr Emiria and Insumet companies. And here are some of the site visit pics.
This is the part about membrane sheets. If we start with the comparison, it has disadvantages and advantages. The advantage is when it's compared to asphalt, the normal asphalt that's used from before. It's the membrane sheets are 100% seal proof because they are torched on or melted on, so it's kind of like glue, and this has caused them to be more elastic, causing them to be less brittle than the asphalt, and this is in winter times. It's easily repaired without any chemicals, and its disadvantage when installing, it has the idea of it might cause fires because of using the torch. It's usually installed on flat or low sloped roofs. Materials are required usually liquid bitumen and layers of reinforced felt, and this is what's melted, and the chemicals to help the liquid bitumen to acquire its function. There's three types of membrane sheets: the thermoset, thermoplastic, and modified bitumen. The thermoset is all about heating rubber, and the bond is chemical. After heating rubber to the seams, they melt onto the roofing, causing a layer of a membrane that's impossible for water to go through. The thermoplastic is the same thing, however it's PVC instead of rubber. So this is cheaper, and it needs more maintenance and repair. The modified bitumen is the cheapest of the three kinds, and it's broken up into two types: SBS and ATP. It's just different techniques. The SBS is installed in hot asphalt, or could be installed in cold adhesive, or some are even self-adhering, where they have something called adhesive backing. This has a rubberized quality to the asphalt. The APP is torched on, and this is the one that has the potential of causing the fire, and it has a plastic kind of feel, and should not be used if the roofing is wood. This should not be used. Some of the tools used, there's many tools used. The main is probably the torch and the hammer with the nails, the roofing felt, and the primer. There are other things to help the process move on. In this slide, this is a comparison between the types of membranes, and it shows which one is stronger, which one is thicker, that kind of way. And here it shows the reflectivity and emissivity of the SBS versus the APP. And the variable suppliers are Psych Mostr, Insumat, and the average price it comes in a roll. Average price per roll is 120 pounds.
We're going to talk about the concrete admixtures here. How does it work? What's the mechanism by which the concrete admixtures are applied? The concrete admixtures are composed of fine aggregates that has a high fineness modulus with extra fine cement used in order to achieve the concrete that has an insulation above it. And it has two mechanisms of work, actually. The first one is that the insulating layer diffuses into the layer of the concrete. It goes through it about 6 centimeters, while the other one works by forming a totally different layer than the concrete above it that prevents other liquids from penetrating through the concrete layer. The insulation, the first one is insulation applied by the theory of diffusion. Here, water is used in the mix as an intermediate material between the insulation applied and the concrete itself. Thus, some of the chemical reactions take place between the lime inside the capillary ducts that usually find the concrete layer, and that form bubbles. Those bubbles prevent water from passing through them. Thus, you create an insulating layer through the concrete layer by a depth about 6 centimeters, which is resistant against water, humidity, salt, and everything that have pH value less than 6. Regarding the concrete admixtures, how to apply them, using the other kind, which is applying insulation that forms a layer on top of the concrete insulation. It simply gets formed by pouring the insulating material on top of the concrete insulation. The contraction, it simply gets formed by pouring insulating material on top of the concrete layer. It has to have the following characteristics. The contraction has 0.06% according to ASTM C569, permeability 0, and it's going to be used. If it's going to be used as a water tank, one makes sure the water does not change after 28 days. Other important stuff that we have to know when studying the concrete admixtures are decreasing permeability, where a certain mixture that is mixed with concrete that requires insulation, this mixture reduces honeycombing and improves the workability besides increasing the insulation of the concrete mixture. There are paints for boring holes that's created between the concrete and joints together. There are specific paints for the fossil sub that are formed. That works on welding the new concrete to the old one. The material is based on butadiene styrene. Last is mortar that's specially used for restoration works. This special mortar being prepared in order to guarantee low use of insulation in the restoration works, yet high adhesive force to the already constructed concrete layers.